fast.
How's it going, people? It's Galileo. About to record a tutorial on modifications. It's basically going to cover the basics of modifications, and also I'm going to show you how and why I modded the Genosian soldier, and basically the reasoning and how you should go about analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of a particular character. First, let me state that you want to get your characters that are your PvP modded up first, because they're the ones that matter most. The arenas where you get, free gems as well as arena credits to unlock those characters. And there's some damn good characters in the arena. So, without further ado, we have the Genosian soldier, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the stats of the Genosian soldier, because he is in fact part of my PvP team, because he's a beast. Alright, so here we go. You want to look in the graph area because it shows you what the base value is and what the mod is, whereas if you're in managing the modifications, it just shows you what the total amount is. So let's take a look first at the health and protection of the unit. I mean, this guy's basically a tank. He's on tank level. He's almost got 30,000 health points with protection combination. So man, he's got a lot of life, and it's really great because he deals a lot of damage very quickly. His speed is already one of his greatest strengths. I know this from experience, having played a long time, that he is just one of the fastest units off the break. But I looked it up, and he's actually the 4th fastest. It was Doku, Ray, and there was one other one. I can't remember what it was. But, his speed is already tremendous. That right off the bat, you should think. Speed, it's kind of an expensive modification, which I'll go over in shortly. But it takes 4 of a speed modification to give a bonus, so that's quite a bit of. It takes up 2/3 of your modification slots, and he's already 4th fastest without any modifications. You can see that I have 6 added, but I mean that's just a byproduct of the modifications that are in his circuit board. So speed, he's already got great speed. No need to purposely modify and use speed modules on him. So that's the first thing we see when we look at this. Critical damage. He does a shit ton of critical damage. Not only that, taking critical hits for the Genosian soldier is absolutely key. He's doing 172.5 and then 22.5 on top of it with the mods. I mean, he's doing 200% damage. His potency, who cares? The Genosian soldier doesn't actually apply any detrimental effects, so potency you absolutely don't need at all. Tenacity is already kind of weak, so any modifications you put to it really just aren't going to help him out that great. So you eliminate potency and tenacity modifications right there, right off the bat. So we don't need speed, we don't need potency, we don't need tenacity. You can always use more health and protection, so we never rule that out. Physical damage, he does a lot of damage. Physical critical chance, this is essential for the Genosian soldier. So he already has a really high critical chance, but I've added, which you'll see, two critical mods to give him a bonus. And let's take a look at why it's so important for the Genosian soldier to have do critical hits. Take a look at his swarm effect here. Not only does it call in an additional enemy to attack, but it just does a lot of damage. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to push swarm, but since I've touched it, basically it's a combo attack that does massive damage. This is what I was looking for, Hive Tactics. Genosian allies gain 9% critical chance. Genosian soldier gains 50% turn meter when scoring a critical hit. So that means anytime he scores a critical hit, he's already halfway to a new turn. So it basically makes a fast unit lightning quick. So critical chances one of the highest priorities for this unit. So, and as you can see, 60% of the time with his modifications, he's getting a fucking critical hit, which means 60% of the time he gets 2 turns for every 1 turn on the enemy opposing team. Armor penetration, whatever, it doesn't matter. Accuracy, this is a newer trait. They didn't used to have this, but when you're obviously accuracy is vitally important. You want to be able to hit the opposing team. It's especially important for your attackers like the Genosian Soldier. If they can't hit, they don't apply any detrimental effects. I mean, they do give Genosian allies a higher critical chance, but they don't really do anything for the group. They're just there to fucking blast at the enemy, so they need to hit. So that just kind of happens to be a happy byproduct of one of my modifications. Armor, dodge, special damage, special critical chance, resistance, special accuracy. I don't think the Genosian Shoulder actually does special damage. He just does physical damage. I'm not sure if they count the swarm attack as a special attack, but I'm pretty sure they don't. It's resistance, weak, deflection chance, whatever. So what we've decided is speed is not essential to increase. Potency, he doesn't add negative effects. There's no reason to do it. Tenacity, he's already got weak tenacity. It's not really going to benefit him to upgrade bolster it. His special ability is built on critical chances. You definitely want to increase his critical hit. And then because he's already really fast, he does a lot of damage and he does a lot of critical hits. We want to keep him alive. So like I said, you don't ever want to discount health and defense. The more health and defense a character has, obviously the more survivable he is. And we want him to stay around as long as possible because he attacks a lot and he attacks with a lot of damage. So let's go over mod basics now. You want to go into the manage area. And so you'll see all your mods on the left there. And the first thing you want to take a look at is the number of dots. The number of dots equals the mark level of this modification. If you tap on one, it'll bring up whatever modification is in that slot on the circuit board currently, and it'll compare it. So as you can see, this bottom one is a Mark 5, and the top one is a Mark 1. The higher the number, obviously, the better it is. And what that actually means is the higher starting value and the higher increase per level of the main attribute of the modification. The next thing you want to look at is what the symbol is in the middle here. So there's 6 different ones. There's life, which I'm on, which is the selected one now. This shield is defense. Let's see, do we have anything else over here? Critical hit chance. This is the fist is tenacity, and the little explosion is offense, and the crosshairs is potency. So those are the 6 different ones. You got critical damage, offense, life, defense, tenacity, potency. Alright, so, and then the last thing you want to notice, and this is important to take on the note. If you look at the level, these level 15s are the orangish yellow, whatever you want to call it. That doesn't actually represent its rarity. If you look at this one, if this circle one, the Mark 3 C Health Data Bus, it's level 1, but it's blue. So the modifications have rarity levels just like gear does, and it follows this exact same color scheme. These light blue / grays are common, green, uncommon, blue, rare, and then you get purple, which I've never seen a purple, and then also I'm sure they have some of these yellow. I know they do because I've seen them in the shop, actually, in the mod shop. And what rarity represents is, you see in this MK3C Health Data Bus, it has a primary plus 2 additional statistics. So you know what 2 of the statistics are going to be, and because you already have them, they actually get a second boost. Whereas if it was just a level 1, are a rarity common. If you notice, it doesn't have any secondary stats. So whenever it does get those stats, I believe it's at 3, 6, 9, and 11, it gets additional statistics or additional bonuses added to it. Those only get one or two boosts through the levels. Whereas if you start with them, not only do they start out with more, but they also have higher. They get a higher boost each time they go up, and they get so they get the additional boost. So you've got marks. You've got the actual type of modification. You have the different shape of the modification, which goes into the circuit board. And then you have the rarity of the modification. The marks or dots means, it increases the base stat plus the increase per level. And the higher the mark, the higher the increase. I've seen up to 6. Never seen any 7s, though, or 8s, though it looks like there may be space in the bar for up to 7 or 8. So, and then we have the circuit board itself, and you notice the different shapes go into the different spots. Don't be fooled. It doesn't matter where a mod is. So if you notice that in the triangle, in the arrow up to the right, I have a health mod, and then in the circle in the bottom left, I also have a health mod. But I still get the bonus, which you can see right below it, set bonuses. So it doesn't matter where you actually place the modification as long as you have the required set bonus, or required amount to get the set bonus. And so I have a set bonus of critical chance up, health up, defense up. And I'm going to go in here and we'll show you exactly what the requirements are and what they do. If it wants to let me in. There we go. So on the left it tells you how many are required. 2. If you have a set bonus, then you get 2.5% health. If they're all the way upgraded, it doubles to 5. And it goes on. Defense, you need 2. Critical damage, you need 4, but it gives you 15 and 30%. Critical chance, you need 2. Tenacity, 2. Offense, 4. Potency, 2. And speed, 4. So you've got to decide what you want. And if you're not going to get, if you don't want the bonus, you shouldn't even bother using that mod, because the bonus is what it, gives you a huge boost. Alright, so I said I wanted life, defense, and critical hit chance. So I have all 3 of those. And then, since critical damage is so important, or getting critical hits is so important to the Genosian soldier to me, I've chosen all modifications that also had critical chance. So every single modification I have has critical damage, or critical chance to it, and then additional things. And everything else basically is just tertiary to that. I wanted health and protection, and then critical chance. I mean, this thing has got, and it also got critical damage. I mean, basically, I looked at all the different stats, and I upgraded these based on whether their primary stat was something I wanted. So plus 12 accuracy, I definitely want that. And it's gonna give me plus 5 health when I have the set bonus, and then all this other stuff gives me critical chance, which is what I want. And then I have this one, which gives me plus 5 critical chance. And one other thing to take into consideration, I mean, you see that I have all these Mark 5 and Mark 4 modifications. They're extremely expensive to upgrade, the higher ones. So we take a look at this in Mark 5. For every 10, it's 22,500 gold, as opposed to a 1. These already looked all the way up. It's only 375 or 3750 for 10. To get a Mark 5 to level 15, I assume it takes probably about 500,000 gold. So they're not cheap, which is why you don't see all of them in there for my guy. I'd rather have the 5% bonus that their modification set bonuses provide than actually putting in the higher level modifications, because they're not all the way upgraded. So that's basically everything that you need to know on what to look for as far as analyzing your units weaknesses and strengths, the basics of the mods, and now you can make your own Genosian soldier if you feel like it, or put 6 critical chance multipliers, because they do stack. You can get 2 of the same thing or 3 of the same thing if it only requires 2 for the set. So you can have plus 15% critical chance by having 3 sets of critical modifications. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.